Gilbo, a former public school teacher. I was an art teacher for 47 years. And over the course of those 47 years, I thought of things that were important to me, and I wanted to share them with new teachers. And so this is another tip for new teachers. And today we're going to continue in the vein of how you have order within your classroom and what you need to do to keep order in the classroom, which is very important, and we call that discipline. And basically, as I've said in the past, students love discipline. They like order. It's a natural human instinct to want to be in an orderly environment. So a teacher has to always be cognizant of that fact and keep that in mind, that you are the maintainer of order and you control the discipline in the classroom. And you cannot let the discipline get out of order, because it will come back to haunt you. Today's children are very active. They're very outspoken, they're very interesting, and they can be a joy to be around if you make sure that you keep control and have order. Now, I always like to think of it as the student, the teacher, and the parent, all three in a triangle together, working together, because I've never ever seen a situation where if everything's not coming together, where you will get the outcome that you want. Now, everyone there should have the same objective in mind, the teacher and the student and the parent. Everyone involved in that triangle. We all want the best for the student. We always want the best outcome for the student. We always want the student to get as much as they can out of their learning experience in your classroom. So I always wanted to enlist the help and the services of the parent, and I always wanted to have a relationship with parents. Now, I'm not going to be Pollyanna, because it doesn't always work out that way, but 95% of the time it can do good things if you have a relationship with parents, right? Parents like to be involved. They like to be valued. They like to be respected. So all three of the groups have the same goals. They like to be involved. They like to be respected, okay? So if the teacher respects the students, respects the parents, and respects themselves, and brings all that to the classroom in an orderly way, everything can work out for the best in most situations, right? Now, parents like to hear the good. They don't always want to hear the bad. But you can't come to them with everything is wrong that their child has done. It just doesn't work that way. You have to know the art of presentation when it comes to speaking to a parent about their child. They love that person. So you have to keep that in mind. There can be some difficult situations that come up that you need to explain to the parents. So parents always tell you, in any situation, you can call me, you can get in touch with me, right? Use that to your benefit. Call a parent, get in touch with them, but make sure it's a situation that warrants that kind of communication. So if I call Mrs. Jones and I want to talk about a little Bobby, and I say to Mrs. Jones, this is Mrs. Gilbo, I'm calling you about Bobby. And I just wanted to let you know that Bobby has improved in certain areas so far that we had discussed in the past. And so you give them some good feedback, lay the groundwork. And then, but I wanted to enlist your support now with Bobby making sure he completes his homework and brings it in. He has been leaving some of his work at home, and I don't know if you know about this, so would you please work with me and make sure you check that he has everything in his book bag for the next day, the night before he comes to school the next day. So you keep that in mind. Mrs. Jones is going to be, oh, Miss Gilbo, it's nice speaking to you, and thank you. I'm glad to hear that Bobby has been making some improvement in other areas, and I'm going to stay on top of that homework situation and making sure he has everything in his bag. And I'll say, okay, thank you, Mrs. Jones. I knew I could count on you because you're a valuable co-worker in terms of making Bobby's school experience a good one. So that's how that works. You don't want the negativity to outpower the powerful presentation of positive things that Bobby has been doing. Okay? Now, over those 47 years and working with parents, I still am in contact with some of the parents of the students that I've had over the years. We're friends. You know, it continued into that, as well as I'm friends with some of my students. I have many students that I still stay in contact with and love it. So this can be a lifelong gathering of friendship between a teacher, a student, and a parent, okay? There are rules and regulations and boundaries that you have to follow, but when you see someone over a long period of time, sometimes I've had 2 or 3 of someone's children, so we get to know each other. So that's how things work. But getting back to order in the classroom, if a student knows that you're going to be in contact with their parent, there's a different kind of relationship. Now, some students will try to call your bluff. Call her, you call my mother. Here's the number. So, you think to yourself, oh, wow, this is interesting. But don't fall for the bluff. I've learned that a lot of times that's all it is a bluff. So call him on it. Call the parent, talk to him, and you'll get a feel of how it is to work with that particular parent. Because I remember one incident where one of the students said that to me, and I hesitated and I didn't call her mother. Well, her mother came up to school to see another teacher, and she just happened to see me in the hallway when she was passing by. And I said, oh, you're so-and-so's mom. She said, yes. I said, well, I introduced myself. And so we got to talking back and forth, and I told her about some of the things, positive and negative, that her daughter was doing. She said, well, you should have called me. And I said, well, she said this, that, back and forth. And her mother she said, what? And she turned to her daughter, and she said, now you know better than that, so you never know. So make sure you keep the parents in the know. Don't fall off that wagon, okay? So I learned my lesson. But as I said, teaching is an art, and it takes time to get yourself together in terms of what to do, when to do it, and what not to do. But I want to add some very quick things for you as a teacher. In that discipline, the students have to take an active role in classroom discipline. They have to be participants. They have to have an opportunity to express how they feel about things in the classroom. You can still have order, and you can still have them give you some feedback. And the parents can also do the same thing. So we want to keep our triangle working of the teacher, the parent, and the student at all times. Call them in or call them on the phone and discuss things that are going on with their child. And when a child knows or a student knows that you will be in communication with their parents, it's a whole different thing. So people say to me, Mrs. G, how did you last 47 years in the classroom? Because I practice what I preach, and I adjusted to the changes that our society is going through. So as the students changed and the parents have changed, I have changed. And I don't ever want to think about sitting in judgment of another person's situation. I want to bring the best that I have to the table for the best for my students and the best for their parents and the school that we are in. Thank you so much, and you have a good day.